The United States is boring. There is nothing to see, right?
Incredible mountains, beautiful canyons, and ancient history right before my eyes. Who knew the United States was this beautiful? Let's explore it. Today we're going to Arizona. Now, before I begin sharing this trip, let me give you a little bit of insight on what I'm about to embark on. I'm heading out with Max Tour on a 2-day, 1-night journey across Arizona from Las Vegas. I'll be visiting Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, the Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam, and a few bonus spots too. Max Tour won Traveler's Choice 2023 for TripAdvisor Best of the Best Award, and after this trip, I totally understand why. We were picked up on time, had plenty of time at all of the different sites, had an amazing tour guide, a small group, and a lot of fun along the way. If you've been thinking of making this trip but not sure how to pull the trigger, I'm about to show you the entire tour in detail, and if you haven't been, you're definitely going to want to go after this. To begin this tour, we will start in Vegas. Now, personally, I didn't feel like actually going out in Vegas, and I was ready to sleep and get ready for our tour, which started in the morning. I chose the Virgin Hotel, which was a really great value and also really nice quality. This is a newer hotel. It is right off the strip, which meant it was more quiet and also very comfortable. Obviously, you could also stay on the strip if you wanted to party a little bit in the days leading up to the tour. But once we woke up, we got ready, and it was early.
It's 5 a.m.
Max Tour gave us really great instructions on how to store our luggage with the hotel, and once it was 3 minutes to 6, we decided to head outside, and exactly at 6 o'clock in the morning, our Max Tour van pulled up. Your pickup might be anywhere between 5:45 and 6 o'clock. Because it was early, the sun still wasn't up, but we were already headed to our first stop. The Las Vegas sign. It's a must visit if you're in Las Vegas, and very easy to stop at on your way out of the city. It's perfect to go in the morning like this because usually there's actually a line. Our guide Rocco constantly opened and closed the doors for us. He was very fast and super respectful, all around a great tour guide. It was beautiful to see the sun rising as well. Rocco offered us some snacks and breakfast items and then some Starbucks Frappuccinos as well to get us going. And then we were off, riding into the sunrise. I took a little bit of a nap, and the next time that I woke up, we were getting closer to our next stop, which is Hoover Dam. Not all vehicles are able to go in here, but Max Tour is a registered vehicle that can go through. So it's very minimal walking, and it's a really great experience. We were given a lot of history about Hoover Dam from Rocco.
So because Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time, we have the clock right behind us.
With Arizona time, with Nevada time on the other side. Now, 14 years ago, the only way to cross Nevada was to go on this road, and it would take 4 hours in each direction. Things have obviously changed, and they've built ways to go through, which is how we got in through here. But the history of Hoover Dam is really crazy. Hoover Dam is a hydroelectric power plant. When it was completed in 1935, it was the highest dam in the world, and it is as tall as a 60-story building. Now, this is kind of fun.
Right now, I am in the middle of 2 states. Watch me as I step into the future.
So we spent about an hour here, and it was a lot of fun. And I also enjoyed learning about the history. When it was built and completed in 1935, I'm not sure if these towers were like this, but the people who built it were only paid 50 cents per hour, and there were 97 people who died here, plus 1 dog. And I came to find out that the dog was actually buried right here and was run over by a truck that he was sleeping under. So terrible, but he was obviously very beloved. And just like that, it was time to jump back in the van. We made our way to a rest stop. I saw these chips and I was like, only in Arizona. We made a lot of stops at the right times to go to the bathroom, which was nice. And I loved these muffins that they provided. One thing that I really liked about this van is that the windows were huge, which is perfect when you're on an Arizona tour because the views outside of the window are constantly changing and super beautiful.
We're at Route 66. This is actually what the Cars movie was based on. Welcome to America.
This is a really fun little shop. Inside you can find tons of different things, but especially this old gallery of different motorcycles. A lot of them are from the 50s and 60s, and it talks all about the different types that each one is. And while you're waiting to go to the restroom, it's just a fun thing to do to check this out. Now, I kept walking around and I saw this and I swore that it was fake. I was like, why would somebody put those antlers on top of this rabbit's head? But no, apparently the Arizona jackalope is a distant cousin of the Montana jackalope. And it's when someone crossbred a jackrabbit and an antelope. The Wild Wild West. A lot of the Route 66 portion of this trip is really just having fun, taking some pictures. It's pretty low-key and it's nice to start out like this because I was personally still tired from it being early morning. Next, we headed to this sign, and I thought that this was cool that our driver, Rocco, knew where to go to find the spot where there was no one behind us, no cars around, and we all took some fun pictures and videos in the middle of the street, too.
This is an active highway, so we have to run off every time a car comes. But otherwise, it goes on for miles.
Okay, but now I'm getting hungry.
Now we're in the town of Williams, and we're going to get some lunch here. It's a historic town on Route 66.
Williams is a very cute little touristy town. It has a lot of Route 66 signs and pretty much the only place with restaurants nearby.
It's a bit cold here. It's going to be our coldest part of the trip. But we're at the Grand Canyon. Can you believe I've never been here before?
This is crazy. But honestly, the fact that you're able to get this close to the edge blows my mind because it means no barriers to get in your way.
It's crazy how vast it is, but I think this is a great time to come to the parks because it's literally almost empty. Look at this. I've heard how packed it can get, so this is great.
This is actually one reason why I never came before, because I always thought that it was going to be so crowded. But it really just depends on the season, I guess.
This one is a little safer, I think. There's actually a barrier here.
This viewpoint definitely did feel a little bit safer, so if you have kids, you might feel a little bit more comfortable with your kids around here. And although it was cold, I really loved the snow. I think it was such a nice effect, and it made things look really pretty. And all in all, it was only about 39 or 40 degrees, so it wasn't too cold. Our guide Rocco showed us a bunch of other great picture spots, and we had a really good time taking photos here. I loved how knowledgeable he was, because it meant that I didn't have to think about absolutely anything. He just told us where to go, and we got to see all of the best things. Then at the end, we headed to a small museum to learn a little bit about the history. Here, there's just a model of all of the different layers and what period of time they come from. It kind of gives you a smaller replica of the actual things, so you can take a deeper look instead of seeing it from such a big perspective. They also gave a lot of good info about the Colorado River, and our guide Rocco also had a lot of good information about that too, which was really cool. We hopped back into the van because this was only 1 out of 3 different Grand Canyon stops. Rocco gave us hand warmers, which came in so clutch because I needed these. It was so cold. I did not realize how different all of the stops were actually going to be, so it was really nice to have those different perspectives of the canyon. Now again, for this spot, Rocco showed me this part of the canyon and how to pose here and how Dilara could take a video of me. I never would have thought of this, so it was really cool to have this perspective standing here and seeing how huge the canyon was below me, along with that green Colorado River. I'm telling you, every view that I got, I was just more and more amazed.
It's pretty cold, but it's really cool. Look how pretty it is.
We spent the rest of our time here just kind of climbing around because there weren't a lot of people, so we didn't have to worry about getting in anyone's way or being in anyone's pictures. It was really nice to just be one with nature and get to stand out here and really experience it in all of its glory. We had a super fun day today, and we've made it to our hotel that is included in the tour, and it is a brand new hotel, so it's really nice. We thought these mini Dove soaps were just adorable. We're up, it's day 2.
It's time to do something really, really cool today. I'm super excited. And look at this view. Very Arizona. Wow. It's beautiful. I'm super excited about today. I've been waiting for today.
Arizona is honestly such a beautiful state. Every way you turn, there is a new view of incredible mountains or very red soil. This trip has really given me a new love for some of America's beauty. After only about a 7-minute drive, we finally approached tribal land. This is Navajo Nation, and the Navajo people govern all of the rules on this property. Lower Antelope Canyon is divided into these two sections for Ken and Dixie. And our guide told us about a rivalry between the two siblings, Ken and Dixie. So on the 30-minute and hour mark is one set of tours, and on the 15-minute and 45-minute mark is the other siblings' tours. We're going with Ken. Not for any reason, that's just who Max Tours ends up going with most of the time.
We're hiking down to get deep into the canyon.
The views were beautiful going in, and we were all prepared not to have our phones in our hands when we went on the stairs. But lucky for me, I actually have these glasses where I can record from the glasses. So it removes any danger of breaking the rules or of falling, and I'm really excited that I can actually show you guys the process to get into the canyon. This is when it got real. I knew we were approaching, and I saw the ground, which was just mesmerizing. Lower Antelope Canyon is known to be a little bit less accessible for people with mobility issues, mainly because there are a lot of stairs. Now, there were tons of little children, as these ones that you can see in front of me, and for people who generally don't have mobility issues, it shouldn't be a problem, but obviously if you do have some accessibility issues, then you may want to stick to Upper Antelope Canyon, which is known to be slightly more crowded than this, and it's a two-way versus this is a one-way canyon. Everyone was super respectful of each other, taking their time, not going down too fast. So if you're worried about that, it's not something that you should be worried about because everyone was super kind and there are tons of people that are monitoring the situation the entire time that you're going down. As you can see here, we were going very slow and just waiting for everybody to go in front of us. This is the point where it started to get a little bit steep, but there are the handrails, and in all honesty, I was just amazed at how beautiful the canyon was going into it. Like, I was truly awestruck. It is not something that pictures do justice or videos do justice because it is just so beautiful. Here's another shot of some stairs that you can see, just so you can kind of expect what the steepest stairs are going to be on this trip. But there were people of all ages here, so I wouldn't worry about it unless you have some mobility issues that you're well aware of. As we walked through the canyon, although there were a lot of other people with us, we definitely had a lot of chances to take photos, and I'll show you some of the shots that we got. Now, I did take these with my professional camera, but it's so beautiful in here, I think you could definitely use a phone and get some great shots.
So beautiful and incredible. This was carved out with water at some point, and you can kind of see that on the wall.
Navajo tradition holds that the canyon was formed by the actions of the holy people, who created the unique rock formations, the narrow passageways, and the light-filled beams that filter through the canyon. The Navajo also believed the Antelope Canyon was created as a way of connecting with nature and the spirit world. So as you can imagine, this is a very important area for the Navajo people, and you want to have a lot of respect for it as you're walking through. The canyon was actually made over time from water running through the sandstone. And in total, Lower Antelope Canyon is about 1,335 feet long, or 407 meters. Plus, it's about 120 feet deep, or 37 meters. All in all, I would say that visiting Antelope Canyon is such a beautiful experience and something that I feel so privileged to have done. This is definitely one of my favorite parts of the tour that I took with Max Tour. Just weaving my way through the canyons, looking up and seeing all of the beautiful sunlight pour through. If you haven't been, then you definitely should plan to go. I should also make note that if there is ever an emergency situation, we were told that there were many exits and ways to get out. So if that's something you're worried about, don't be. I also wanted to show you that the slot canyon of Antelope Canyon is in those holes right there. I thought that was so cool that you could be above ground and have no idea that right there in front of you is the canyon.
Absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend coming to see this. I can't believe I haven't seen it until now. So we're at Horseshoe Bend. We're going to walk about a mile.
Now, if you are able to walk on a flat surface, I would definitely say that Horseshoe Bend is accessible for most people. I'm not sure if it's wheelchair accessible unless you have one of those that is motorized and has the big wheels on it. And Horseshoe Bend was one that I was really looking forward to as well, just because I've heard that it is so beautiful. And even just walking there were beautiful views. The first day of this trip was a lot of fun and saw a lot of amazing things, but today I'm feeling like these are even more impressive. We were told that it was about a mile long to get to Horseshoe Bend, and if you can see there in the distance, that is where the canyon is that holds Horseshoe Bend. We were also told to stay on the trail because there could potentially be snakes because this is a wild area. Finally, we arrived, and it was definitely more impressive than I thought. It looks exactly as it does in photos, and there is a little bit of a trick to it if you want to get that perfect shot. I actually think it's a lot easier to take this perfect shot with your phone versus the camera, but I really wanted to get a high quality shot of it. You need to hold it high above to where you personally cannot even see the viewfinder, and then you should be able to get a pretty nice shot. It's a huge area, so there's not much competition for photos. With that, we began the walk back.
It's the perfect time of year to come here. It's not too many people.
But once we got back to the van, Rocco told us that he had another bonus stop, so we followed him, and it was truly beautiful. It's a different perspective of the Colorado River. It was only our group while we were here, and it was really beautiful to see this. This is one thing that stuck out to me about Mac's tour was that Rocco was an amazing guide. I really felt like he knew the area well, even though he's not even from Arizona. He's just a very good tour guide, which is obviously what you want when you're going on a tour.
Time to grab some lunch, and then we're gonna head back to Vegas, but what a trip it has been.
Now, our tour is almost coming to an end, but we stopped at a Mexican place to have some lunch before we headed back on the 5-hour drive back to Vegas. And these enchiladas were very, very good. I think I already spoke about this at one point in the video, but I really do like how the van has these humongous windows. So wherever you're sitting, you can have an awesome view of all of the rolling hills and the canyons and everything around you. Not only were we very comfortable in the van, but aside from that, I just think it's so important not to be bored on the drive while you're going there. If you know my other content, you know that I'm not super into taking tours. However, I like to take tours when they're very good and I learn a lot from them. This tour from Las Vegas with Max Tours was just an amazing experience. Rocco was an absolute joy as a guide, and I can highly recommend taking this tour. They have a variety of options as well. Back at Virgin Hotel, what a trip it was. I cannot believe that I lived in Arizona and I have never come to these beautiful and amazing places. I'm ready to sleep now, but it was such a whirlwind and a perfect 2-day trip from Las Vegas.